Yes, it's your boy Abdul-Salaam, aka Brother Jabril. Just a quick note here. This is an interview today with Joseph Munguia. Did run a little bit late. Apologize for the late release of this, but it's a great interview. Looking forward to seeing my man here in Houston this Friday. And without any further ado, enjoy this interview with Joseph Munguia. 1 2 1 2. It's your boy Jay Salam, aka Brother Jabril. The show is Exposure, Friday, September 23rd. That's next week already. Man, I'm really late on this promo. That's my bad. Our special guest today, Mr. Joseph Munguia, and all the way from Los Angeles, California. So in two different, completely contrasting time zones. Thanks for joining me today, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's good to meet you. Looking forward to seeing you coming up this week already in Houston.
Yes, sir. Why don't you give our crowd a little bit of a rundown of who you are, where you come from, and genres that you like to play besides house music?
Oh, sure. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles. For a little bit, I lived out in DC, but for the most part, I grew up a lot in Los Angeles. And outside of house music, I kind of play a lot of different stuff. A few years ago, I really got, right as the pandemic started hitting, I discovered this artist named Wande Cole, and I got really into Afrobeat before it really became more popular. And I started a little brand where I would mix melodic reggaeton with Afrobeat. And it worked really, really, really well. There's a lot of times you go to a bar and it's not always like boom, boom, And so it's good to have stuff change and move around. And I like doing that. And also, I've been doing a brunch for a good 10 years now. And we play just about everything. Sometimes I'll have guests, and other times I'll just play for 4 hours and I'll wake up and I just want to play dance hall or oldies. And so it kind of just changes around and just moves around because it's outside, it's daytime music. And it's a lot of fun.
Did you say 10 years?
Yeah, it's our 10th year of the brunch. We've been doing event called DTLA First Sundays, Downtown LA First Sundays. It's every first Sunday of the month. We rotate venues in Los Angeles area, but for the most part, we've been doing it every month for that amount of time. I do it with my partner Anthony, his lovely wife Priscilla now, and our other partner Garen, who's joined us.
Nice. And I understand you met Nimbus at Mikasa Holiday, or was it somewhere else? Where'd you meet Nimbus at?
It was at Mikasa, 2012, 2013, maybe. No, I think 2012 even. I was at Mikasa, I was in the back of a bus coming back from Tulum, and I heard him talking and I heard his voice. And I heard him say Houston. And at that time, I think I had just went, I think for my first time over to Houston. And so we just started talking. We're in the same row in the back of the bus. By the time we got back, we were friends. And I've had him out to Los Angeles a few times, been out to Houston plenty of times. Brought him with me to San Francisco, variety of places. Greg's great.
Gotta get you out here to Atlanta, man.
Yeah, I should do that. I went out there for I flew myself around for my birthday last year, and I went to DC and I booked a layover in Atlanta for 6 hours specifically to go to the Spondovitz and the Waffle House right there, and just kind of work it out for a little bit. But it was Atlanta's fun.
6 hours is just enough to get through the traffic out here, and then get back to where you started.
It's good, yeah.
So I like all of my interviewees to answer this one question. It's something that's really close to me. I ask everybody to answer the question, I DJ because. What is it that motivates you? How do you finish the sentence, I DJ because?
Well, to me, I DJ because it's the same joy I get from promoting. Even though it's a little bit more fleeting sometimes with DJ because you're up there for like an hour or two or three or four for a brunch, and it's nice. But it's really nice, especially as you promote or if you're an opener or you start it as the day progresses, the evening progresses. You see people come in. Sometimes they immediately start just dancing, but for the most part, they're hanging out, they're chilling, and you watch a lot of thighs, you watch a lot of hips, a lot of ankles, and see how they move and what they respond to. And you pull out one or two of them or a few of them, and then you have the floor. So I like the aspect of DJing because it's just more, it's right there, and you could see it, and you could feel it, and you show up and you feel the floor and you feel what's happening before you, and you might have an idea, I want to play this song, or some people show up with whole lists and other stuff, but then you start hearing you play or someone else, and it's very vibrant and it's very dynamic. And you come in thinking you're doing one thing, and you're just doing something different.
Did you grow up around music, or what was it that caused you to kind of get that space where you wanted to present your own version of music?
The when we grew up, we didn't really have music per se. I mean, my mom was really into um rock music and some other stuff, but she was really into hosting. And so what I really like is just having an event, or just having, people over. And at the time when we grew up, we didn't really have DJs. We didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of the parties, you'd have a 2 or 3 second gap where they'd switch a record, or they'd do this, or they would do that. But it was really just, people use the word now, the vibe of it. It's really just like how it felt, and just the different things. But grew up with just a lot of different types.
So, how did you first encounter house music? What was that experience? What was that experience for you? Where was it? Was it a nightclub? Was it
Um,
radio?
we were far too young for nightclub. It was in junior high. I think I was like
Rave parties?
11. Oh, I wasn't even old enough to go to the raves. And I certainly wasn't allowed how I was raised to go to any sort of raves or nothing. But when we were growing up in an area of Los Angeles called San Gabriel Valley, they used to have a lot of dishing parties. They would have a lot of other not the kind of house what we would call house now, although it would still be house music. But it was just a lot of kids like 20, 30 years ago, a lot older too. And they would just be during the day, at night. And Los Angeles, the rave culture and the underground culture is very big. And so we encountered it very young, literally backyards. And just like especially at night, people would be having barbecues and other stuff. But then you'd hear like the or the noise, and someone would be having other music. And so I remember first hearing house music 90s, 91, 92, like really young. And as I got older, there was a time where I just concentrated on school and work and this and that. And so when I'd go out, it would just be top 40 music. And then I think I was about 25 or so when I got taken out in Los Angeles to quote unquote the scene, or what we know as house music is now. And that's when I really saw how it was really different and changed. And for a little bit, I didn't like it, because the stuff that I was being taken to was more what I call like bleep bleep bloop music. It was nice, but it was just it wasn't working my ADD. I was getting lost. No one's dancing, but we're not dancing next to each other, but we're not. And don't face me. And oh my God, you're facing the wrong. It was just really different. And then I was gonna go back, I guess it's just regular stuff. And then I went to a soulful night. And I heard like soulful, I guess more I guess what we would call soulful house now. And that really hooked me. And that's what I really, really like. And that's the house music that I tend to listen to more, and I dig more. I say I always play 99.8% vocals, because like I lose my track, I lose my place. And I just like just the how it sounds. It combines, it makes like a wall of sound when you add layers of voice to a song instead of just the bleep bleep bloops. Because you can still make it, beefy and stuff, but just the instrument of a voice it's really good. And also too, what I liked about house, especially with soulful house, is as I started hanging out with people more, I heard more about like rules. Like, well, you don't want to play this vocal over that vocal, you don't want to do this over that. If you get around some DJs who really know how to fit a phrase, you can take 2 or 3 songs and put it in this little bit and that little bit, and all of a sudden you have 2 other songs going. And we all know this with house, but at the time it was really nice, because it went from more of just like a noise to more of a feeling.
What uh what was the show that you went to? What was the who was throwing that?
It was a fellow named Cade Nelson, really popular promoter back in Los Angeles, 90s, 2000s or so. He had a party called Free Thinking, which was really long running. And I think that was his last few runs of shows. And what was great about him, and what I like about him, is I wouldn't say I was used, but I first encountered promoters who were crews, and it's like we all throw each other on, and it's always the me show, the me show. But what's cool about Cade was he would DJ and he would play, but he would have other people play. And it wasn't just him. He was a promoter. He was running it. He was doing it. And that was I really like that. Because I mean you have to be there for like 4 or 5 hours. You have to hear it. And you have to really make it cohesive and not just all about you. I mean, sometimes if it's all about you, you can be that good. But sometimes, we don't.
Yeah, I we find ourselves kind of going back and forth between as promoters, we find ourselves going back and forth between like we have a core crowd that would come out to see us to hear what we do, but at the same time, so we don't want to lose them, right? At the same time, we want to bring something different to the crowd as well, and hopefully they appreciate it. But we end up going back and forth like, okay, do we play the primetime slot because they're here for us, or do we, you know, put the guest? And I always think that a guest should play the primetime slot. So Nimbus and I go back and forth about that all the time. But you know, it's a tough part of being a promoter. Like, what is the main purpose? Is it so they could come hear us and be entertained by our guest, or be entertained by our guest primarily, and then entertained by us? The argument against doing the focus just on the guest is that um, when there's no guest, do people come? Do people show up? So it's a tough kind of balance that you have to play, because you also want to respect the person's time that they've taken to come out and all of that, to be and present what they do. So that's a tough thing. What
Yeah,
do
well,
you
I would say that what I liked, actually, I guess I started DJing because I was throwing day parties. I'm a big fan of day parties. I don't believe if it's daytime, if it's outside, you shouldn't be charged. I mean, we're not
right?
in a hotel, right? Like just come and buy drinks or something. But with with the with the daytime, it's not it's not just you. When no one shows up because you're the one playing, it's because you may not have made a well-rounded event. And maybe people want to go and sit over there and not even dance, but
Right.
just sit and have fun while other people are dancing or any number of things are happening. So it's always good to have stuff be more well-rounded. I found it as a promoter and as an organizer, as the event gets going and moving, if you're prime time, that's kind of when stuff happens. That's stuff you have to attend to. You have to keep stuff on track. If you're getting ready to go on, how are you keeping track of the person before? What if there's a delay? What if there's an issue with this and that and the others? And when I was doing my daytime stuff, people don't show up. They're not on time. And I think a few times I'm like, hey, do you have a USB? Hey, do you have something? Do you want to play? You want to play for me
Right.
already? Hey, he came, because certain people had USBs. And so I started just going more into that. Like, I'm playing soul music. It's daytime. I don't need to blend it. Like we're live, you know? And
Right.
then you kind of, I guess it is learning on the job, but during the day, you're just playing music and it's daytime music and it's just the environment and how you feel. And whether it's at night too, because there is nighttime music, but it comes out in the environment. Sometimes you show up to some places and it should be real more mellow and low key and maybe not break 100 BPMs, but there's still a lot of energy and a lot of just goodness and all that.
You ever
And
link up with Marcus Wyatt, or who else is out there that I know? Lars Barenroth?
yeah, I know them both. Marcus I haven't really worked with really at all. I'm not even sure if I've ever played with him. But Lars, I was a big fan of Lars. I guess when I was still new to the scene, he's always been real big on his shows and his podcasts and on his media promotion, etc. And I enjoyed um, the not only the sound level, that deepness, but just the complexity that he had. And he was also bringing in a lot, which I wasn't aware of at the time, of his South Africa, of his not just South Africa, his African influences and those different cadences and those rhythms. And it just really Lars is
Great guy, a wonderful, talented dude. The label is awesome as well.
yeah, super prolific. He's and I don't know these people. I shouldn't say these people, but I don't know the bookings that he has on his mixed show. Sometimes I recognize the name, sometimes I don't. It's quality stuff though. it's still good. You don't have to know the name. You know, it's just if Lars asks you to do a show, you know, there's a reason for that, you know, and that's goes in the curation of it. And you know what you're gonna get, even if you don't get Lars all the time. Sometimes it's just him, you know, but it's still good.
Yeah, Lars has a great ear, man. He's definitely a curator. He's a real what I aspire to be, which is a tastemaker, somebody who can play something that you're like, the fuck is that? You
Yeah.
know, what the fuck is that? That's so dope. I love that. Whatever
Yeah.
that is, I want it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call it trend setting. You know, it's like because sometimes I listen to stuff and I know that I'm probably gonna be the only one who likes it in a commercial style setting that I could put on. And then there's other times it's adjacent or it's just different. And it's you're just playing it and you just fit it in, you fit it in. And some of the best compliments I've ever got is, you know, like I knew you're gonna do whatever you want, or I knew you're gonna play what you want, you know, and it's still because if you play the right type of music, you could fit it into a set and it's but it's not, but it'll still work, you know. Some people might not like it, but there are a lot of people that will.
Yeah. I like to play at that 120 tempo, especially during the day, because then you could pull in things that are like naturally 115, and kind of play into it, maybe drop the tempo for a little bit and then pick it back up. But I usually won't go beyond like 120, especially if it's during the day. Um, that's kind of my thing. So why do you love being a DJ? What is it that appeals to you about being a DJ? Is it
A little bit like
crowds?
promoting, even though it's a little bit less. When you're a promoter and when you're a DJ, you look out in the crowd, you walk on your floor, your neighbor, your brother, your friends, their friends, and a bunch of people you don't know. And especially as a promoter, you're next to them dancing and they're dancing, they're smiling, you're smiling. That's a high. That's a big high. You know, and when you're DJing, it's still nice, it's more of a fleeting high because you don't know that guy or girl dancing. But they're dancing and they're having fun. And it's the same sort of feel of just you give sounds bad, you give them pleasure. You know, you're enjoying the vibe of it. And it's just really good.
Yeah, I think I'm a junkie. That's my thing is I'm just a junkie, man. I love especially like you're playing a prime time set. You just drop something that just really resonated with the rest of the crowd. Doesn't even have to be, it's actually even more special if it isn't like a track source top 20, top 100 track. And you just played something for people and they just went crazy. And you're like, yeah, I'm locked
Yeah.
in. I'm a junkie of that. And just getting in front of people and having that connection where and they're dancing to something that you produced, whether that's by playing it or by actually playing an instrument. How do you feel about it? Do you feel that same level of like addiction, or is it more just like a sense of uh mission, or a sense of purpose is what I guess would be more appropriate?
I think addiction is the closest of those terms because it's like
So what's your purpose what do you feel like is your purpose when you're DJing? Do you get addicted to it, or is it like a sense of purpose, like you want to present music, or you want to uh you know you want to present certain sounds or something like that to people? What is your motivation there? And you said that you were more addicted to it than anything.
I like events. I like throwing events. I like doing events. Um, Sometimes I'll go a little bit and I'm not necessarily a part of the event, or I didn't coordinate it, or I didn't get someone a venue, or I didn't just do something. Even if I'm not, a lot of times I'm not even on a flyer.
Like to book, you like being a promoter, you like booking venues, you like to be somebody who presents cool things to people. That's, I imagine, where you're kind of going with
Yeah,
this.
it's like there'll be times where because I feel I'm old. I'm 44, and I always tell myself like, well, next year no one's gonna call me to go anywhere. No one's gonna ask me to go do anything or to play this or play that. And then but I'll just get an itch. And I remember like in LA, it gets kind of colder and people don't go out as much and stuff. But I remember just when I started wanting to throw a party in January. because I hadn't really done anything. And I wasn't even playing. I was just hosting it. I was just throwing it. It was just something to do. And so there's always a need to just like be around people. And but it's good to have that community and that event.
You enjoy being part of the community, which is, I think, special. Because it's like what we were just saying. Like, we don't have to do any of this stuff. We could just show up to a club, a party, and just go do whatever anybody else has put together. But then we have our own taste. We want to kind of present something to someone, and then we get that validation, right? When people show up, when people come out, and before you know it, you get that anxiety, that 10 o'clock anxiety of like nobody's fucking here. And then the 11 o'clock, you're like, oh shit, oh, people coming up. And then that midnight rush where, because everybody's fucking late, always late, right? Everybody comes into soulful house music events in Texas, at least from what I've observed, at like 12:30, and you're like, oh, where the fuck have you been? And then it's like, okay, so you got that rush, and then you get the rush of like entertaining people, and I love that. So how do people find out about you, Joseph? You have a website? Do you have social media, things like that?
I'm on Instagram as Food by Joseph, FOODBYJOSEPH. I'm on Snapchat, Instagram. I'm terrible at this.
Let's
Um,
pause, but let's but like put a pin in the rest of that for now. Tell me about Food by Joseph.
oh,
Yeah, I want to double
so
click on that. What you got there?
LA is good for street food. I like traveling, and one of the things I usually miss is that it's like 9:20 p.m. and you're hungry and you have limited choices. And LA is great because there's just always so much food and there's so much vibrancy. And very quickly I just went out. I started just doing grilled cheeses, and then I did well. And every single day I was in the black until the week before everything shut down for COVID. And it was just like a little side thing I would do. I was still working, but I really liked the idea of just being out there because everyone was walking around the street, and it's just a very vibrant environment. And then I went to one place, and then I went to another and another. And I'm not really a chef. I know to cook, but I would just switch the food around depending on where I was, um, and I would combine stuff and just do a wide variety of stuff. But it was really good. And then the pandemic hit, and then I just haven't really wanted to go back out.
Oh, that's cool, man. You've really kind of branched out. You like to plug yourself in creatively with food as well as for music. Have you produced anything? Are you a producer at all, or you tried to go
Um,
that route?
yeah, I have some stuff I could send you. I would say I'm more of I don't want to say a remixer, more of a rearranger. I
Right.
have what I call a lot of extendo edits. You have a song that's good, but it wouldn't quite fit. So got used to taking parts out and moving stuff around. And I would take songs from just simple artists like Nia or Afrobeat artists, not really house stuff as much because that was already good for what I needed. But I
Right.
would need more dance edits. And so if I'm doing an Afrobeat set, those songs are 2 minutes long, like 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And you're constantly working. And it's not that I don't like the working, but sometimes you want it a little bit longer. Or
Yep.
sometimes you think, well, this would be better in the front, or this would be better in the back. And so I kind of tend to listen to a lot of stuff. And then when I'm done, it's just another cohesive song using the same parts.
Nice.
Sometimes I add to them. The stuff that I have produced, it's definitely not house. Like my partner in the Los Angeles party with the night shift, Juan Ernie, he's a big producer, and I don't know how many times. Like we could be in the studio with him and his engineers and other artists and stuff, and I could contribute or have ideas. But if I have to actually do the piano or like pump it out, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. But I have more of an idea of what I would like to do, and I'm able to communicate it more and more as opposed to just sitting down and producing. I think like in your setup right there, you have a lot of stuff there, but I don't know how to use all that, and the different like pianos and the different this and the different that, and even just the technical part of it, because you can have a really good sound and a really good melody, but it sounds like trash because you don't know how to engineer. I just kind of get lost in all of that. So I just tend to either before I would play around on a machine or just make an extended edit.
I think that producers, like a good producer, is just a good communicator. Because a lot of times, like, I think you'd be surprised how many producers don't even play music themselves. They're not altogether. They understand. You have to understand a certain level of like musicality and things like that. But guys like Ruben, he's a good example of like even like Louis Vega. They're just good at expressing, good communicators, good people who are able to communicate what they want to hear. And then the other part is like just picking out the right instrumentation, the right people to play the instrumentation, which could be a whole other challenge in itself, right? Yeah, there's a lot of producers out there that are just good communicators, good at expressing what they want out of music, and I think that's the whole challenge there. So we paused on your social media accounts. We got Food by Joseph and Snapchat. You have a TikTok or anything like that?
I don't have a TikTok. I barely found out who that was the other day. No, I'm just kidding.
Who
But
that was?
no, I just have Facebook, Joseph Munguia, Mungia, the Food by Joseph on Instagram. Those are the two best ones. I do have a SoundCloud and a Mixcloud, Joseph Munguia. Also, I believe a Joseph Munguia edits, even though I think little by little they've all been taken down.
Well, send me that stuff and then I'll make sure to put it in the show notes. But we will see you next Friday, the 23rd in Houston, Texas for Exposure. But I appreciate your time, Joseph, and look forward to meeting you in person doing the analog handshake. But yeah, we're gonna rock it, man. I know that you come highly recommended from Nimbus, and I look forward to kind of furthering our relationship as we go along through life, man. I mean, I'm here. I'm doing this stuff. I've been doing, dance music stuff for over 20 years, and just ready to keep it moving. Houston is one of my favorite towns, and even though I don't live there anymore, I always like to keep it fresh and keep new and exciting things happening there.
Yeah, Houston's very nice. It's very vibrant. I've kind of only been more in the south. I haven't experienced it. This next trip I'm gonna stay out longer. So it'll be nice to see other parts. But Houston's very vibrant. It's
Yeah.
nice, great. We had discussion prior about like the style of soulful dance music, and it's a real big Houston, Chicago, San Francisco. Like you're gonna hear it. And those are good places for it and stuff. And it'll be good. I look forward to the new venue. Anything Greg picks has to be good because he's so particular, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to go through a lot of finding the right place for sure. We got 2 minutes left. You got any shout outs you want to give?
Just pretty much Greg out in Houston. I want to shout out Skeezer, Esteban, also Houston. They're the first ones that brought me back out. I remember when I talked to Greg, I was like, "Oh, skis." So I just love it out over there. Just Los Angeles, mom, dad, business partner Juan. I don't know, everyone.
Cool, man. I appreciate your time, brother. We look forward to seeing you out in Houston on the 23rd.
Thank you. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Cool. Peace.
Bye.